Welcome back to Justice. Within the last hour, I had the opportunity to speak by phone with the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. Take a listen. Thank you so much for being on Justice this evening. I know you've had a busy night, having
Absolutely.
already spoken at the Values Voters conference. But my viewers are thrilled to have you on tonight. Let me start by asking you about reports that Rudy Giuliani is now under investigation and involving the Ukraine. And there is some confusion as to whether or not you still consider him your attorney. Is he your attorney?
Yes, and he's a great gentleman. He was a great mayor, one of the greatest, maybe the greatest mayor in the history of New York. He was a fantastic prosecutor. I know nothing about him being under investigation. As somebody said, I heard a report today. I can't imagine it. He's a man that looks for corruption, and whatever he does, I really believe he's I know he's an honorable man. You know him very well, too, Jeanine.
Of course I do, and I worked with him when he was a prosecutor. And so you unquestionably stand behind him in spite of this investigation.
Well, I just don't know if there is an investigation. I've just heard it.
The New York Times is reporting.
I find a lot of things that you hear, they should look at other people. They should be looking at really bad people doing really bad things to our country. So, no, I stand behind Rudy Giuliani, absolutely. He was a crime fighter from day one.
What's interesting about this is that the Inspector General referred Andrew McCabe for prosecution exactly 1 year and 6 months ago to the Department of Justice. Now the New York Times is saying that Rudy Giuliani is under investigation for lobbying efforts as it relates to the Ukraine. You know, within minutes after we hear the Ukraine, it's kind of interesting if indeed that is going on at the Department of Justice, especially in light of what's going on with the Bidens. But what do you know, Mr. President, about those two men who have been just arrested, who allegedly were working with Rudy Giuliani? They say that they had dinner with you at the White House.
Well, I don't know who they are. I mean, I guess maybe I met them or maybe I took pictures with them because I saw there was a picture of me with them and others. But I take pictures with a lot of people. I don't know them. I don't know who they are, Jeanine, but you'll have to figure that one out for yourself, I guess.
Okay. All right. So you have no recollection.
I know they're donors because they made donations, political donations to a lot of different people, a lot of different politicians, I guess, over the years. So they're donors, but I have many donors, thousands and thousands of donors.
All right. I want to turn now to impeachment, Mr. President. You know, this Marie Yovanovitch testified behind closed doors yesterday. She defied State Department orders and attended the deposition. Do you expect that she's going to keep her job in the State Department, or will you fire her?
Well, I don't know exactly the status. I don't know what she said because the Democrats keep that very much under the vest. It's very interesting how they don't tell us anything. We literally have no rights on the other side. We have no rights. We have no anything. And it's a very unfair situation, I think. But I don't know very much about her. I know that supposedly she was very partisan and she was a Clinton-type person. But whether or not she keeps the job, I'd leave that up to Mike Pompeo.
Okay, and certainly you have a choice in terms of who your ambassador is to a particular country. Of course you do.
It's absolutely my choice. And again, she may be a very fine person. I just don't know. But even if you listen to the very good conversation that I had, a very, very good, no-pressure, congenial conversation with the new president of Ukraine, he had some things that were not flattering to say about her. And that came out of the blue. So, you know, it'd be nice to have somebody that he liked because the person will have to deal with the president of Ukraine. But she may be very good. I just don't know much about her. I don't think I've ever met her.
Okay. And now the European Union ambassador, Sondland, who works for the State Department, he is going to testify. And yet we're not entitled to any of that information. I mean, what is the White House's plans, given the fact that the Democrats don't seem to want to call a vote?
Well, you know, they just, if you take a look at it, where Adam Schiff made up a phony, fraudulent statement, and he read it as though I said it, because my phone call was a perfect call with the president of Ukraine. It was congenial. It was friendly. It was no pressure. It was no blackmail, as he said. There was no pressure, no blackmail, no nothing. They don't even understand what the question is, and people that read it don't know what the problem is because there was no problem. What the problem is, though, that Adam Schiff didn't read that. He read something that he made up something, fraudulently made up a conversation, and he read it to Congress, and he read it to the American people, and it was horrible. But it was a fraudulent thing that he just out of thin air he made up, Jeanine. It was a terrible thing that he was allowed to do that. And that's where we are right now. And very strong action should be taken against this guy because I've never even heard of a thing like that. Now, where we really upset the apple cart, they didn't think we'd do this, I released the conversation.
Right.
You had stenographers. It was a call that was taken, very accurately taken. When I released the call, that really turned things over because now they saw it was a perfectly fine call. It was a very standard, very nice call. And that's the way it is, Jeanine. And it's a fraud that's being perpetrated on the American people by Adam Schiff, by Nancy Pelosi. She was on George Stephanopoulos the other day, and she tried to say that I made that call. And I did, in other words, the way Schiff had it.
Right.
And even Stephanopoulos, I respect him for it. He said, no, he didn't say that. That was made up by Adam Schiff. It was all made up.
Right.
The whole thing is a hoax. It's a terrible thing, but it's a fraud in our country, and it's so bad for our country.